What's up, you guys? It's TJ here on this wonderful Friday morning, and today I want to talk to you guys about the importance of having faith, okay? Faith, very simply explained, is the confidence that everything that's going on in your life is working you towards your growth and expansion as a human being. If you believe in a higher power, which I'll call God for this video, if you believe in God, then you will know that even in the toughest, in the darkest, and the most depressing situations, God is working something behind the scenes for your growth, your expansion, and for your greatest outcome possible. I always try to give you guys a personal example, so I'll give you one here that you probably have heard before if you've listened to a couple of my talks. But I played college basketball, and my senior year, about halfway through the season, I broke my ankle, and it effectively ended my career of playing basketball. From the ages of 14 to 23, basketball was really all I focused on. It was the centerpiece of my life, and everything else kind of revolved around my love for the game of basketball. And as great as that was for my development as a player, it hindered my growth as a human, because I wasn't so focused on helping others or what I could do for my community. I was more so just focused on what I could accomplish and achieve and what benefits I could gain from my skill of playing basketball, right? And so when that injury happened, when I ended up breaking my ankle and knowing that effectively ended my senior season and probably my career because of just the way that my college career had gone, it got me into a really dark place. I was depressed, I was suicidal, I was really anxious all the time, I was worried about what would happen next, all of those type of things, and so it just got me into a really low place. I just wasn't very happy with myself, with my situation, any of those things. But as time progressed and as I got a little bit of distance between myself and that incident, I started to realize that things in my life were actually changing for the positive. I had fallen in love with reading, which I hadn't done really at all in college, even textbooks. I had kind of done the bare minimum to try to get by and continue to play basketball because basketball was what I was focused on. I had fallen in love with reading. I also fell in love with serving others through the game of basketball, through training. I started to train some of my teammates at the school I was playing at, and I just felt a deep passion for helping others grow mind, body, and spirit. So through the game of basketball, I was helping them improve their skill, I was helping them improve their mindset, and I was falling more in love with just life in general. And so that was a great feeling to have, and I hadn't had that other than when I was on the basketball court. And I was technically still on the basketball court, but it was a completely different perspective that I was taking on it, right? And so I started to realize that although my plan may have been shattered, that God's plan was actually far greater than I ever could have imagined, right? And I was only getting a glimpse of it at that point. I'm much deeper into it now that I've been training for 2.5 years than I was when I was training for 1 month. But I started to see that maybe if I just had faith, that things would work out better than I imagined, right? And so another example is now that I've been training for 2.5 years and I've been on my own, real life comes with a lot of stress and anxiety if you don't know the correct mindset to take of it, because our society now, it pushes lack and scarcity to you. It pushes that you've got to grind hard and that you've got to just work to make sure that you get a bag and you can pay all your bills, right? And so for me, my training didn't necessarily start out just jumping. It didn't have 50 people in the gym day one. I started training for $10 a session, and in some of my group sessions, I wouldn't even have anybody show up. I would be completely in the gym by myself, or I'd be blessed to have a friend that would come with me and we'd shoot or we played one-on-one, or do something of that sort. But I wouldn't make actual money because nobody showed up to the training session. And so there was times where I would be one day before I had to pay rent and I'd be maybe $500 short. And if you are not a faithful person, I guess is the easiest way to say it, it's going to put a lot of stress and anxiety on your shoulders to try to figure out, where am I going to get this $500? And that can drive people to crime, that can drive people to selling drugs illegally, anything you can do to just make sure you get that money. And all power to you, get it how you get it. But I had come to a space where I really trusted God. I really had that faith that not only did He take care of me, but I was on the right path and I was doing what He had destined me to do, because I felt the impact and the love and the joy that I was spreading through my love for basketball and through my knowledge of the game and through my love for God and through my understanding of myself and others. And so I don't want to say I didn't stress. I definitely had moments and even days where it just was on my shoulders and I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? But I was always able to come back to a space of faith and say, regardless of what happens, even if I'm late on my rent, even if I miss my rent, I know that God has a plan for me, and I know that whatever is to happen, the challenges that I face and the obstacles that I have to overcome will eventually lead me to growth and to expansion and to show me what I'm truly capable of. And it seems like almost as soon as you drop the anxiety and you give the burden to that higher power, it seems like miracles follow soon after 99 to 100% of the time. I would say 100, but I don't want to be too specific and then somebody be like, well, I had faith and it didn't work out, because, you know, God works in mysterious ways. And that kind of leads me to my next point. So it seemed like the second that I dropped that burden and the second that I had real genuine faith that things would work out for me, somebody would just put money in my lap. Whether it was just somebody gifting me or donating money saying, thank you so much for helping us, and we appreciate all that you do, here's a little bit of extra money. Or whether it was somebody that I may have loaned money to months to years ago that I forgot I lended it to them, but they didn't, and they said, hey, I don't think I forgot, I appreciate you helping me out, here's the money you lent me and then some. And so multiple times when I was tight, it seemed like something would just come to me and take care of me, and I would be provided and protected by something that was greater than myself, because I didn't think that I was necessarily in a good situation, but it worked out for my greatest good and it relieved me of that burden. And some people like to argue and say, well, it wasn't God that helped you out, it was those people. But that is where I would tell you that God is everything and nothing. And that sounds extremely weird and it's paradoxical, but life is paradoxical in its nature. There's light and dark, there's duality, there's all of these things. So that'll be for another talk, but God is everything and nothing. So if you limit yourself to thinking that $500 is going to fall from the sky and that's the only way that God can give it to you, you're going to box yourself in to not receiving as many miracles because you won't believe in them. God works in extremely mysterious ways. He works in ways that are unexplainable, unimagined, and unexpected, because God is everything. So knowing that God is everything, God works through his people, and God works through nature, and God works through any situation, and any situation you could think of or not think of, truthfully. It's just, there's no explaining God. God is not anything that you can put as a concept in your mind. He is far beyond the human mind's capacity to understand. We'll never know the bigger picture. We'll never be able to understand how life works in its fullness. But if we have faith, and if we see the signs that life is for growth, life is for expansion, and life is for the spreading of love and joy, you start to understand that even those tough situations, they put you in a perfect position to grow and in a perfect position to just become a greater version of yourself. And when you drop that burden and when you let go of that stress, miracles just flow to you, truthfully. And so that to me is the definition of faith moves mountains, right? If you're in a situation where it seems like it's impossible, where it seems like your life is over, where it seems like there's too much weight on your shoulders, if you can find a way to come back into that space and find a way to just say, okay, God, I give it to you, and I have faith that whatever you're doing right now will make sense, you know, in the end, even if I'm to die, right? If I was to die today, I hope that I would be able to continue my life in a different form, a different aspect, and be able to learn the lesson of whatever my death was bringing to me. But having faith, it not only will bring miracles to you, but it just allows you to live more in the present. It allows you to let go of the anxieties of the future and the worries of the past and just say, okay, in this moment, what can I do to work towards my greatest path that God has destined for me? And when you can do that, I think more things work out in your favor than ever before, because not only will God work through other people, but God will give you plenty of opportunities to work for yourself. A lot of people nowadays, I think, rely on God almost too much. They think that God will just drop things down from the sky and, just protect and provide for them without any work. I think faith and works go hand in hand. I think that if you have complete faith, but you're not lazy and you're not waiting for a handout from God, he's much more inclined to help you out because he sees the effort that you're putting in. So again, for my example, for the money, I was working hard at training. I was giving what I had to those kids, and I was trying not to charge, way too much money per session because I wanted it to be accessible. I wanted it to be available to as many people as wanted to join and wanted to be helped and taught. And so although I was short on money, I was walking the path that I feel was destined for me. I was walking the path that I felt was called for me to walk. And in doing so, the faith that I had opened up doors for me to meet people, for me to have miracles happen. And because of that, my faith has deepened. Because of seeing the miracles that have happened in my life and seeing how faith did move those mountains for me, it's continued to deepen. So then each situation where I face an obstacle or I face a challenge or it feels like it's impossible and there's no way I can make it through, I just continue to come back to that faith each and every time, and each and every time I'm proven correct that as long as I trust and as long as I do the best that I can day after day, God will move mountains for me, and He will let me continue to walk my path if I continue to trust in Him. So that's really all I got for you guys this Friday morning. I hope that if anybody's going through a tough time, that this will touch your heart and tell you, hey, just have some faith. Look for the opportunities and the people that may be helping you out and that may be able to pull you out of this situation. If you guys already have an extreme amount of faith and unshakable faith, continue to spread your light to others and show that miracles do exist and that you're an example of that. And for everybody else who just watches to watch, I appreciate every single one of y'all. Everybody that supports me, I love you. Everybody that thinks that I'm dumb for doing these things, I love you, because you all play a role in my growth and expansion, and I love each and every one of you. I hope that you guys have an amazing weekend if you're watching this on Friday, or if you watch this on a Monday, I hope you have an amazing week. Like and subscribe to this video if you feel inclined to do so. I've been gaining more subscribers by the day, and I appreciate that, because seeing that my words touch a few people, even if it's only 16 people, that inspires me to keep on going. Also, please leave stuff in the comments if you want to hear specific talks, if you have any questions, because when I know what you guys want to hear, it makes it a little bit easier to plan. Right now, I just go off my own inspiration, which is great as well. But I would love to speak on things that I know you guys want to hear. Other than that, like I said, have a great weekend, have a great week, whatever it is, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.